Morning. We're waking up with some chilly air once again. Some areas in Central Florida with some freezing type temperatures. So we'll get to all that in just a minute. Plus, take a look at some of the top stories. Also, a live interview this morning with an oncologist from Orlando Health. We'll learn more about lymphoma, the types of lymphoma, the warning signs and symptoms, and types of treatment, and the hope that is there if you or someone you know is going through this. So we'll get to that in a little bit as well. But this morning, if you're about to head out, definitely dust off the heavy coat if you can, or warm up the car, get those seat warmers going, or the heated blanket, brew that coffee. I don't think it's a cold brew morning, but anyway, let's head over to the Pinpoint Weather Center with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. You have a little different background there in the Weather Center today. Good morning.
I was trying to hide it.
Oh, well,
Well,
it's
we're under construction. We're doing something new, so get ready for it.
I like how you still have decor going in the midst of the construction.
Well, they have the caution tape, and to me, it didn't feel very festive. And they're obviously not taking the shot right now in the studio, so we never can decorate the studio. So
It's a holly jolly construction
I'm
zone.
gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna take advantage of our construction zone. So yeah, there it is. Notice that I placed the chairs. Hold on.
I love it. I love it.
There you go. Now you get the
Wow. And ornaments. I didn't see the ornaments on there. That's
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, we have ornaments. We have a little Christmas tree here, and then you can't see it on this wall and on that column over there. I put snowflakes. Well,
Oh,
not
oh
just
yes, I
me.
did
I'm
see the
sorry.
snowflakes. Nice touch.
Super Steve also is really into it. You know what, Steve? If you want later, show him your other decorations. Your favorite Christmas
You know what I
decoration.
think you need? Poinsettias.
Yeah,
Like right along the floor behind you there. That'd be nice.
that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's so we'll wait and see to see how everything kind of comes together. But
Yeah.
right now we're hard hacked construction site right now with a little bit of a festive pop
It'll be
of
better than
light.
ever. It'll be better than ever when it's done. So
It will be. I'm excited. All right, let's take it to tell you what's going on with the weather forecast. Yesterday, by the way, Bridget, we forecast a high of 63.
did we
To
get there?
We got exactly to 63 yesterday, making it the coldest day of the season. Last
Wow.
time we were down into the low 60s was mid-February. So it has certainly been quite some time since we've
Yeah.
seen temperatures that chilly. Today, we're still in the mid 60s, not as cold as yesterday, but we're up to about 66 degrees or so this afternoon. So let's take you to the maps here. Frosty conditions once again this morning. We are going to continue to see that warming process really start up by this weekend. We have one more kind of weak front that will come through with very little fanfare. You won't even notice it, but it is going to usher in another day in the 60s on Friday. And then we'll start seeing the noticeably warmer temperatures by the weekend and into early next week. So right now we do have that freeze warning still in place for central and western Marion County. The rest of northwest central Florida still under that frost advisory. All of these continue for another hour and a half or so until about 9 o'clock. Temperatures out the door right now. We're at 35 in Ocala, 34 in Wildwood. Yesterday at this point, we were talking about Ocala down into the 20s. So certainly a touch warmer than yesterday, but still frosty at different points of central Florida. So our highest today is 66 degrees. It's going to be just a nice day, still running about 10 degrees below average. Fast forward to tonight. We don't have a real freeze concern tonight, but more just some frost, but much more limited in kind of its area into Marion County, the villages, areas like that, with our wake up temperatures tomorrow morning a touch warmer in those mid to upper 40s. But those warmer changes really start to kick into high gear by this weekend, all thanks to that big ridge of high pressure that's been funneling in all that cold air out of the north. It's now going to start shifting, and that's going to bring more of a return flow off the ocean, more of an east southeast breeze, and that's why temperatures will be at some points even warming above average, especially as we head into Monday and Tuesday. Our average for this time of the year is 75, so we're going to hover around that or below that till the weekend, and then early next week we'll be warming things up. For those trying to kind of figure out what temperatures are going to look like as we get a bit closer into Christmas time here, it looks like by as late as December 18th, a lot of our climate predictions still showing kind of more of above, not extremely above. We don't have any bright reds like the Northeast will see, but here in Central Florida will be slightly above average. So I'm thinking we're going to continue to hover in those upper 70s, low 80s. And as you can see here, your 7-day forecast, our next best shot for rain, not extremely high, but only about 20% come Tuesday. I do want to, let me just roll over here real quick. I do want to show you something. Where is it? This graphic? All right, let's see. We had some glow in the dark clouds this morning, which was
Ooh,
really cool. These natural, what we call
the
the
jellyfish
twilight
clouds.
phenomenon. Yeah, these are pretty rare when they're naturally made. But here in Central Florida, it's not natural. This is actually from the rocket launch we had around 5:15 this morning. So what
Mm,
happens? Quick little fun fact is the exhaust from the SpaceX rocket has a little bit of water vapor embedded within
mm-hmm.
it. That water vapor, because it's so high up in the atmosphere, it actually freezes into little mini ice crystals. And because it's also so far up, it's actually catching the sunlight from the sun because now it's way above the horizon.
Mm.
So it lights up the sun actually lights up the clouds where when
Yeah.
you're on land, you just see a dark sky. But that's the reason why, in case this morning you woke up early, you noticed that there was this weird, iridescent clouds out there. That was the reason. It's not a UFO, as Steve said. In case people were wondering, nothing weird happening. It's just a launch going up and those ice crystals catching the pre-dawn sunrise there over Central Florida
That's a
skies.
very nice description there too. I like it.
Thanks.
So, and we get that with those morning launches like that once we've had that, when we fall back until the sunrise isn't quite here yet when we have those launches.
Right, right. Yeah, it needs to happen like about an hour, more like closer to the 2 hour mark, which is how it was this morning, where the night sky is
Hmm.
still very, very dark and it really makes those clouds really pop. But again, naturally they're very rare because we don't really get a lot of particles and water vapors and stuff like that kind of that far in the atmosphere. But when
Hmm.
you're shooting a rocket through into space,
And then the cooler
different things can
temperatures
happen.
help facilitate it too, so that it
Yeah, to freeze,
glows a little bit
exactly.
more. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Very cool. Thank you.
you're
We
welcome. All
got our
right, go ahead,
science
have
lesson for
fun with
today.
do you have your holiday decorations, Steve? Oh, okay. All right. You can toss it over,
All
not him.
right. Okay. I'm going to get you some poinsettias for that background. Yeah. All right. I guess I need to do my background too. So we got to get to work on that. It's already December 4th. Let's check in with Trooper Steve, just over Candace's shoulder there. So you're doing a
Yeah, it's
little.
just a little exposed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's it. It looks nice. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a
I think
good
it kind of
touch.
opens us up a little bit
It
here. It looks like a
does.
real studio. I don't know what the models that Candace saw of what it's gonna look like. I'm really interested to
Yeah.
see what she got to see.
The chief gets
Yeah. Oh, she said the chief gets privy to it.
Okay. It's the Christmas bonus you didn't know you were getting.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Bridget, don't do that to me.
What?
Because I'll start. All right, man, these roads, let's get straight to traffic. We do have only two issues on the road, really, but I want people to understand that as we enter the holidays, the traffic delays that we normally see about 5, 6 in the morning now start around 8, 9 in the morning. So everything's pushed a little bit. I don't know why, but that's just what's happening. John Young Parkway, Taft Violent. FHP still reporting that this has some lane block, but I'm not picking up any more delays within that area. And then Maitland Boulevard, State Road 414, out here at Forest City, all clear. Far left side of your screen, you can see a little bit of an eastbound delay as you approach Rose, but if you drive out there, you should be used to that. Your drive times right now on I-4, 417 from Sanford to downtown, 26 minutes. That's kind of high, so just be careful. See those delays settling in pretty good out in the Champions Gate area. DOT cam here at World Center, nice and clear. We're going to see our attractions areas pick up during this next couple of weeks, even when it's the weekdays. So please be careful. Poinciana, you guys are a mess this morning along Cypress Parkway approaching Pleasant Hill Road in Poinciana. There's a minor crash there, but then you have another crash that's up towards Reeves and Poinciana. So it's one of those mornings, but as long as everyone's paying attention, we're going to be good to go. All these crashes are fairly minor. And then I just always like a nice Brevard County shot out in the morning out here. Looks cool, looks nice, and 528's moving pretty good. No stream today, but yesterday was pretty cool. Yesterday was so much fun. And if anyone has the chance, please head over to clickorlando.com. And so you could just learn a little bit about my buddy Frank. He goes by Jimmy Rook is his stage name. But he's just a quick a hand, sleight of hand magician, really entertaining. And
Mm-hmm.
he likes to get an emotional response from people. So
Mm-hmm.
he's always staying engaged with you. And you know me, I'm watching. I was watching him like a
Did you learn
hawk.
any new tricks?
Um, There was one that I was always questioning, and then it kind of reaffirmed how I thought it was done, and I was right. He was
Mm-hmm.
going to go and explain some of the tricks to me, and I said nope. Off camera, of course. I don't want to know. I thoroughly enjoy comedians. I enjoy magicians. It's a craft. But if you guys want to know, he's a sergeant over at UCF, and I'd love for you to check that stream out. It's over on YouTube. It's the best way to watch it. But learn a little bit about him, and then he does some tricks for us.
How can you look him up if you like want to book him or like go
Yeah,
see
so
him?
he performs regularly over at the comedy club that's at Wonderworks. So
Okay. Yeah.
the Out of Control Magic Show, I believe it's called, not Comedy Club. And so you can watch him there, perform him there. He's on Facebook as Jimmy Rook. But also this Thursday night, we're going to be having a watch party. So tomorrow night from 7 to 9 p.m., we're actually going to show the reality episode of HBO that he was on doing his performances. Hang out. So that'll be at Decision Tactical in Sanford.
Very cool. All right. Thanks, Trooper Steve.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. All right, we're going to get to a few of the top stories this morning. The drama continues in Orange County between the mayor and the supervisor of elections. Last night, the county commission voted to withhold an upcoming payment to the supervisor of elections office over concerns about controversial spending. News 6's Angie Casada has more.
Tensions boiled over at Tuesday's Orange County Commissioners meeting as Comptroller Phil Diamond revealed a troubling tip from a confidential informant. Diamond says last week his office was contacted by someone claiming Supervisor of Elections Glenn Gilzine wrote a check to a nonprofit for $1.1 million. The money is in addition to the $2.1 million given to Valencia for a scholarship and $1.9 million to Career Source of Central Florida.
Mr. Supervisor, open the books. The people have a right to know how you're spending their money.
Orange County Mayor Jerry Deming says until the new supervisor of elections takes over next month, he wants to ensure the money spent by the supervisor of elections office is approved by the Board of County Commissioners.
The alarms are there, is what I'm saying to the public.
Gilzine, though, maintains he hasn't improperly spent any money. And in a statement last night, his office said withholding funding isn't just outside the board's power, but also outside the law.
All right, so we'll keep you updated on what's happening there. Also, some developments this morning in politics, and of course, Florida always in the mix there. Potential shakeup in President-elect Trump's new administration. Multiple sources now telling CBS News that Mr. Trump is considering Governor Ron DeSantis to become the country's new Secretary of Defense. It comes as his original pick, Pete Hegseth, continues to face scrutiny on a range of allegations, including sexual misconduct. But so far, the governor has not commented on that report. So we'll keep you posted. Meantime, in Tavares, there's a debate over fluoride in the drinking water. In a matter of hours, the city will take up a controversial issue that's been making national headlines. Leaders set to discuss whether or not to remove fluoride from the drinking water. News 6's Mark Lehman explains that this discussion comes after many recommendations from the state health department.
Adding fluoride to drinking water has long been heralded for its contributions to dental health, but the conversation in Tavares is now changing.
We've had a lot of people in the city who want it out. We have people who want it left in.
Vice Mayor Lori Pfister says leaders are discussing the possible removal of fluoride from Tavares water systems after the state health department recommended that action last month.
It is public health malpractice with the information that we have now to continue adding fluoride.
Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo says recent studies show higher levels of fluoride exposure resulted in neurologic effects on pregnant women and children. Robert Kennedy Jr. also raised those same concerns.
So the question is how much fluoride is too much to cause problems. Keep in mind water treatment plants have been adding it at finely tuned levels for decades, and experts say by
simply drinking tap water, it would be nearly impossible to overdose.
An average man that's 155 pounds would have to drink nearly 95 gallons or liters of water in order to reach toxicity. How you feeling, brother?
Dr. Nicholas Potter is the lead practitioner at Tavares Dental. He understands why the city is having the discussion, but says the fluoride is beneficial for those without dental health access.
I feel that removing it might be detrimental to those who are most vulnerable, like in our lower income communities.
And so that is a debate. That's one that's happening all over the country. So we'll keep you updated on what happens. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with an oncologist from Orlando Health to talk about lymphoma awareness. Keep it here. Welcome back. We're getting results for your health this morning. We want to talk about lymphoma, and we have Dr. Sarah Young, an oncologist with Orlando Health, taking some time out to talk to us this morning about lymphoma awareness. Good morning, Dr. Young.
Hey, good morning.
This is something that's been making headlines lately because a popular actor and comedian, Dave Coulier, has been diagnosed with stage 3 non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and he's been saying that this really caught him by surprise. So this is one of those diagnoses that can really catch people off guard. Why is that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's not a lot of awareness about lymphomas, but also there's no screening test for lymphomas at this time. So I think people just don't really know that much about it and don't really know what to look for. So that's why it's important to always talk with your doctor. I tell my patients that nobody knows your body better than you. And if something's off, you should always talk to them and they'll kind of know what to look for in terms of a surprise lymphoma diagnosis.
And so I had a friend many years ago who went through this, and Mr. Coulier also said that he thought that he had a bit of a head cold. So these symptoms present sometimes as what seems like something else.
Yes, absolutely. You know, lymphoma is a cancer of the lymph cells, which can be found throughout the whole body, but most commonly it pops up in a lymph node. So what can happen sometimes is you feel a swollen lymph node and you think it's related to an infection. It may have originally been related to an infection, but then it persists and gets bigger, and that can be the first sign. But a lot of lymphomas also just present as you just feel kind of unwell, like you would with a viral illness. You know, fevers, night sweats, some weight loss. Some people just they don't have good appetites, and so the symptoms are very non-specific, so it can really catch you off guard.
And we hear many times about non-Hodgkin or Hodgkin lymphoma. What's really the difference?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's many different types of lymphoma, T lymphomas and B cell lymphomas, but the B cell lymphomas are the most common type. And within B cells, there's two main categories, Hodgkin's lymphoma and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and they're treated quite differently. So it's important to really pin down the exact diagnosis so that you get the right treatment. Hodgkin's lymphomas a lot of times present in younger patients, although they can occur in older patients as well. Whereas non-Hodgkin's lymphomas present all different ages, but definitely the rate increases as you go on in life. And so the symptoms can be similar, but the most important thing is to see a doctor who can get an excellent biopsy to pin down the right type of lymphoma because the treatments vary so much.
Okay, and so sometimes people are sick and they'll say that it has spread to their lymph nodes. Is that much different than what we're talking about here with these lymphomas?
Yeah, so in lymphoma, staging is a little bit different from other types of cancers. For example, Dave Coulier, he has a stage 3 lymphoma, which has to do with how extensive the lymph nodes are and if it's anywhere outside the lymph nodes. But the important thing to know in lymphoma is that even if you have stage 3 or stage 4 lymphoma, there's pretty much always a chance of cure with the right treatment, with the right person at the right time. So even if it's very scary to hear things like stage 3, stage 4, but with lymphoma, we always have a good chance of getting the cancer into remission or cure.
Okay, and you said the treatments do look a lot different depending on the type. So what types of things happen when you start treatments?
Yeah, exactly. So for example, Dave Coulier, it sounds like he has a very aggressive type of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, which requires really aggressive traditional chemotherapies that last for a few months. With other types of lymphomas, for example, more lazy, indolent types of lymphomas, sometimes we don't even need to treat those if they're not causing problems, or we can treat them with a combinations of pills or short-term IV treatments. Lymphoma treatments have gotten so amazing in the last few years. We've really had an explosion of options. So I think, it's really important to discuss those options so that you can pick the right thing for the right patient.
Okay, and when it comes to, you talked about immunotherapies and that being more so with the Hodgkin's lymphoma. What types of things happen with the immunotherapies? Is that customized to the patient?
Yeah, you think of chemotherapies as kind of the traditional chemotherapy side effects we all know about, but immunotherapies act a little bit differently. They're prompting your own body's immune system to target the cancer and kill it. So it has slightly different side effects that are usually a little bit better tolerated. So that's a really good thing to know, but it still has some side effects, even just with immunotherapies. That's important to talk to your doctor about. So the biggest one is, obviously fatigue. You could have rashes, endocrine problems, but all of those are usually a lot of times very mild and very manageable.
And so, if you're going in for, say, your annual appointments, what types of
Mhm.
things would the doctor look for? What do you need to ask about if maybe this is one of the things you're concerned about checking
Yeah.
into?
Yeah, definitely. I think the main thing, like I said, patients know their body best. If something's not right, you bring it up with your doctor and let kind of lead them down the pathway that you're worried about. For us with lymphoma, the big thing is abnormal lymph nodes are very important. So if you feel a lump or a bump and you had a cold recently, like Dave Coulier, and it goes away, that's probably okay. But if it's persisting and now you're having fevers and you just don't feel well and you're losing weight, those are important things to bring up with your doctor, and they can kind of help sift out what to do next and when it's time to refer to someone like me.
And like you were saying, the lymph nodes would present more sensitive or maybe change in size with the Hodgkin's, but the non-Hodgkin's doesn't always present with like lymph node size and sensitivity symptoms. So what would be happening there that you can look out for?
Yeah. So things to watch for, probably the biggest ones we talk about are fevers, night sweats, or weight loss for no reason. Because, for example, you have lymph nodes in your belly. Say you have a big lymph node in your belly. You can't feel it, but it could be pushing on your stomach or your intestines, causing nausea and weight loss. So things like that that are persistent and you can't really explain over a few weeks, those could be the first signs of something like lymphoma, but they might not be. And so it's important to be vigilant about your symptoms and be open and talk about it with your provider.
Right, right. Because when you hear those symptoms, I'm thinking, just myself personally, Dr. Young, I'm thinking about menopause when you talk about some of those symptoms.
Exactly.
So it could be
Exactly.
different
And
things.
exactly. It's all about context, right? And I think talking about that with your doctor, being open, like, hey, I have these symptoms. I think it's menopause. What do you think, right? So I think it's good to have a provider that you trust, who you can talk about those things with and ask those questions. There's no dumb questions in medicine. There's no screening test for lymphomas. So you just have to be open with your symptoms, and move forward with your doctor the best way that you can together.
And your team there helping people deal with these different types of lymphomas every day.
Yes, absolutely. We see lymphoma every day. It's, a scary disease, but again, there's a lot of hope because our treatments are so good and we always have a chance of cure. So I feel really privileged that I get to treat patients with lymphoma, and we're here to help whenever we can.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Young, an oncologist with Orlando Health, thank you so much for taking some time out. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. All right, great information there. And before we go, we want to tell you about some holiday preps, or maybe, post, if you are dealing with lots of cleanup around the holidays, because as you know, it gets pretty messy, even though it's a lot of fun too. So here is my co-anchor and insider guy, Crystal Moyer, with more from Consumer Reports about holiday stains.
Susan Symet loves to host during the holidays, and she doesn't let spills on her tablecloth ruin the party.
It's a little hard to stop and remove them. So I sort of hope that we can get them out later.
Consumer Reports laundry experts know the key to saving your tablecloth from those buttery sauces, sticky desserts, and wine spills is to pre-treat stains. And the good money-saving news is you don't need a special product. Laundry detergent will work just fine. In Consumer Reports test, Tide Ultra Plus Stain Release earned excellent pre-treating stain scores. When you're ready, toss it in the wash as usual, but make sure the stain is gone before putting it in the dryer.
The heat of a dryer can set the stain forever. So if after washing you still see the gravy, dab it with 3% strength hydrogen peroxide and line dry the item in the sun. The sun can actually bleach the remainder out.
When it comes to wine, blotting is key. For red wine, do it as soon as possible. Mix warm water and liquid dish detergent and work the soap into the stain. Then apply plenty of hydrogen peroxide and set the fabric in the sun for several hours. The sugars in the white wine will cause an ugly brown stain over time. To prevent that, blot out the liquid, then blot it again with liquid detergent and warm water. Then blot once more with a dry towel.
Another stain that responds to that detergent and warm water mixture is chocolate. If it's on your tablecloth or napkins, blot it and just get out as much of it as you can, and put them in the soak cycle of your washing machine before laundering.
Some good household items too that you can use in all that stain fighting. So no matter what you've heard, never use anything other than a dedicated laundry detergent for the laundry machine, because that can really damage some of the hoses and seals if you're putting a bunch of vinegar or different things like that in there. Crystal posted some more tips and ideas online. Go to clickorlando.com/insider. It's always free to sign up to be an insider, and always some good giveaways on there too. We also want to thank you for your generosity yesterday on Giving Tuesday. The viewers like you really stepped in to get results for the Salvation Army's Angel Tree programming, which New 6 and BFAR Contracting have teamed up with to help the Salvation Army get all these angels adopted. And many of you called in on the Giving Tuesday phone bank to donate to the Angel Tree, and yesterday added up to more than $215,000, beating the goal of $200,000. No small feat. Big thanks to you guys for helping raise all of this money to go to the angels, so that any of the lost angels or angels that didn't get adopted will still have their wishes this Christmas. And it will make such a difference for those in need this holiday season. So thank you once again. And speaking of those giveaways on the Insider page, today, we are giving away a PlayStation 5 Slim console in our 6 days of giveaways. You do need to be an insider. That's free to sign up for. You can enter as many times as you want. Go to clickorlando.com/insider, and good luck to you. We'll have more giveaways tomorrow, too. That's going to do it for breakfast. I'll see you at noon. Have a great day.